Hari Om. Yesterday, the chapter 2 of Bhagavad Gita, and I was talking about the goal of life, the material life and the spiritual life. And I told you that the spiritual goal is the direction of Atma, and in that direction, the intellect, mind, sensory organs are aligned. That is the spiritual direction. The material life, what is the direction? The direction is the intellect and mind are following the sensory organs, and the sensory organs are running behind the sensory objects with the sensory desires. If you see the direction of Atma, which is moving away from sensory organs and sensory desires, now why these sensory desires are considered not so positive? In Bhagavad Gita chapter 2, Sri Krishna has given a logical sequence of how these sensory desires influence our state of mind and how it brings our downfall, how it brings stress, how it brings anxiety, how it brings anger, how it brings sadness and depression, and how it often ends up in misery. The verse goes like this: Dhyayato vishayan punsa sangas teshu pajayate sangat sanjayate kamaha kamat krodhopi jayate krodhat bhavati sammoha sammohat smriti vibhramaha smriti bhramshat buddhinasho buddhinashat pranashyati. When there is an object of desire in front of you, that object of desire creates a very strong desire in your mind. That desire creates attachments in us, and these attachments are so powerful that if you don't fulfill those, it gives rise to anger. Say for example, you have a desire to eat chocolate. How does it start? First, it's just a thought. A thought of a chocolate comes, maybe a visual clue. Maybe you're walking on the street and you see a big advertisement. That's how they do it, you know it, right? That's how they do it in the shopping malls and TVs, and nowadays on this internet, everywhere, on all websites. Everything is all about marketing. So once you notice that object, your mind has more and more thoughts of that, and then you develop attachment with that thought. That thought creates strong desire. That desire even makes the attachment stronger, and then you have to go to some shop and purchase that. If you purchase the chocolate, if you eat it, do you stop there? What happens? Do you say it's the end of the desire? No. There's 10 more desires that come. Oh, next time I would like to try this chocolate. Today I tried 60% cocoa chocolate. Now next time I want to try 70% cocoa chocolate. Or maybe I want to try some Belgium chocolate. Because there's no end to it. Once you fulfill the desire, there are 10 more desires which distract you even more. But what happens if you stop that desire? I'm talking about expression leading to greed, or expression of that desire leading to more desires. And what if you stop it? It creates anger in your mind. Say, no, I'm not going to eat chocolate. It's suppression. And that suppression creates anger. And that anger is such a powerful energy, such a powerful force, that it makes you forget what has your experiences of that. One of these experiences is eating too much of chocolate can make me put on weight. That's my knowledge, that's my wisdom there in my brain stored. But because the anger is there, Sri Krishna is saying that these desires lead to anger, and then the anger leads to you forgetting your memory or your previous experiences, your knowledge. And why do you forget? Because the krodha, the anger or greed, they confuse your mind. They influence your memory processes. In today's scientific studies, it is quite well known that if you are angry or if the desires take over, like for a drug addict, for example, the drug addict wants to go and have that drug. When that desire takes over, the scientific researchers are saying that the blood flow to the frontal lobe is reduced. And the frontal lobe is the part of brain where you can think clearly. So scientific researchers are confirming what Sri Krishna has said, that the desires or the anger or the greed, they make you think not clearly. And when you can't think clearly, that's when you take wrong decisions. And that is how we make wrong choices. This is how stress is created in our life. This is how we encounter anxiety in our life. This is how we experience depression and sadness in our life. So the most important thing is to keep this intellect very well balanced. In the situations of material attractions, that is the sensory desires around me, and that is how Sri Krishna in chapter 2 has defined yoga. So the definition of yoga has come from the chapter 2. The first definition of yoga in chapter 2 of Bhagavad Gita, Sri Krishna says, Samatvam yoga uchyate. Yoga is that balanced attitude. When there is a chocolate in front of you, you have a balanced approach. No, I don't need to eat it. Or even if you eat a very small portion, it doesn't create any desire. And if you don't eat any, there is no anger. So this state of balance of your mind, and that mind contains everything, the state of balance of your thoughts, the state of balance of your emotions, and the state of balance of your intellect. So Samatvam Yoga Uchyate is that dimension of your mind where nothing disturbs you. And then Sri Krishna goes on further to say that the person who has achieved this state of yoga is called Sthita Prajna, the one whose intellect is stable, the one who has achieved mastery of yoga. Sthita Prajna is the one who is a master of yoga. Then Arjuna asks, okay, I understand it partially, but please clarify more. And then Sri Krishna is telling him, Prajahati yada kaman sarvan parthamanokatan atmanne vatmana tushta sthita prajna taduchyate. The Sthita Prajna, the yogi, the yoga master is the one in whose personality all the desires that come or that arise in himself or herself, they are burnt in the fire of intellect. Understand this, the desires do not create greed or anger or any emotion, but before they create any emotion, the intellect interferes, your wisdom interferes and neutralizes those desires. For example, a desire of chocolate again, you want to eat it, but the intellect comes into picture. It says, you don't need it, you will put on weight, it's not necessary. And the body also does not give any strong signs of cravings. The emotional balance is achieved just with this wisdom. That is what is expected in this verse. The second part of this verse says that the one who is always contained within himself, so he doesn't need anything to make him peaceful. You know, we have all our problems. We say, I can only be peaceful if there is no sound around me. I can only be peaceful away from my city. I can only be peaceful when I watch this ocean. I can only be peaceful. This is conditional peace. The yogi, the Sthita Prajna is the one who the peace is always there, because it's not conditional for him, it's his choice. And he has a empowered state of mind where he can be calm in any state. There is no peace in the deep forest, and there is peace in the middle of chaos, because peace is your choice. This is what Sri Krishna is telling Arjuna. Then the next verse, he again goes on talking about Sthita Prajna, and he says, Dukkheshu anudvigna manaha sukheshu vigata spruha vitaraga bhaya krodha sthitadhir muniruchyate. He says, in the time of suffering, when there is sadness around, when there are sad events happening around, the one who is not disturbed, the one who is not sad, the one who is not affected, and sukheshu vigata spruha. But when there is a time of joy and pleasure, he is also not excited. Look at this state. A same state of balance, even if there is negative events and even if there are positive happenings around. The one who does not lose the balance. Now you will say, oh, does this mean he is insensitive when there is a time of suffering? Does he mean that he is insensitive? No. Imagine there is a very difficult situation around you. Right now, the whole world is going through this difficult situation of coronavirus. It is creating a lot of anxiety. It is creating a lot of stress. And you know what? The studies are showing that so many more people are experiencing psychological problems because of this. And if you are psychologically not peaceful and balanced and positive, your immune system is compromised because of stress. The moment you get stressed, your immune system is weak. The moment you are angry, your immune system is influenced because of stimulation to sympathetic nervous system. This is very well known. The moment your immune system is weak, there is more chance that you will get this disease. So what Sri Krishna is saying, if there is a situation of suffering around you, if you are balanced, then you are safer. If you look at it from an emotional health perspective, if you are balanced, there is more chance that you will take a right decision, because if you are stressed, if you are anxious, or if you are depressed, or you are angry, you can often take wrong decisions. So it's very important for you to be very balanced and peaceful to take the right decision. And this is exactly what Sri Krishna is saying. He is not telling you to be insensitive in the time of suffering, or like completely, run away from it. No, he is not telling you that. He is telling you that if you are balanced, you will do the best possible karma, best possible choice you will have. There is a chance when the situation changes from negative to positive that you suddenly get excited. But look, that is also again losing balance. Too much excitement also causes the same dissipated and disturbed state of our mind. When you are so happy, you don't even know what's happening. You just go crazy, that's it. So that also is a state of imbalance. The second half of this verse, Sri Krishna is telling, the Sthita Prajna is the one who doesn't get affected, who doesn't have fear, who doesn't have desires, and who doesn't have ego. So fear, desire, and ego, these three aspects are so critical part of this definition of yoga. Samatvam yoga uchyate. Yoga is the balance. So here I am continuously highlighting one theme, that is sensory desires are bad, sensory desires are not good, sensory desires need to be controlled. What is that control? I would just give you few examples. When you are eating a chocolate, you like it, you are eating a chocolate. What happens? You just go on eating? You just eat more and more and more and more and more and more. So what is happening is the tongue is dictating. Tongue is a sensory organ and the desire for chocolate is a sensory desire. So that sensory desire is dictating how much you are eating. When Sri Krishna says control, he is not telling you suppression, don't eat anything at all. Or he doesn't say, okay, just eat, go on eating. Expression also he is rejecting, suppression he is also rejecting. What he is saying is very interesting. He says that the tongue has only authority to tell you the test. How much to eat, tongue cannot tell you. That is mastery over tongue. Many times it happens that we say, oh, I am not hungry, but then I smell the food is very nice and I taste it and it's very delicious. The moment I see the food is more delicious, my hunger comes back. It happens. In our day-to-day life, we plan, I am going to only eat this much today. Really, if the food is good, I eat double. But what is that? That's the sensory organ dictating me and I have no control over sensory organ. This is what Sri Krishna is saying. He has given another example, Kurmangani va sarvashaha. Kurma is the tortoise. The tortoise, if you see it, it has 4 legs coming out of the shell. It's a shell, there is a shell, 4 legs and 1 head. So there is 5 organs. When the turtle feels some danger from somewhere, it just pulls its legs and head under the shell and it just creates a safety barrier around it. Sri Krishna is saying that a yogi should be like a tortoise and the 5 organs, your sensory organs, when you feel that there is a danger, oh, this food is too good, pull yourself under the shell. Many times this particular example of Sri Krishna is being interpreted by different people in different ways. The people who supported the monks tradition, sannyasa tradition, the great master Shankaracharya, he said that Sri Krishna has said about sannyas is withdrawal of all the sensory organs and stay under the shell. But Santa Jnaneshwar, another great sage who commented on Bhagavad Gita, he said that only when feel threatened, you pull the sensory organs inside. And when you don't feel threatened, the sensory organs are relaxed outside. So whatever it is, in both situations, you see the control over these sensory organs is recommended. If you just pull them in and keep them, that's a suppression. If you just keep them outside because you think it's very hard to pull them in, then it's just the expression. So what Bhagavad Gita has said is keep them under control. Another example Sri Krishna has given is the ocean example. The mind is like an ocean. Every moment there are millions of streams and rivers pouring water into the ocean. But the ocean never crosses its limits. The ocean on the beach, there is a limit. It never crosses that limit. That's how our karma should be. Whatever desires come into the mind, into the dimension of the consciousness, the karmas, there is no breaching of barrier. We stay at the same balanced level. Interesting example of interesting story I will tell you about this sensory organ control. It's a nice story. When I was a very little boy, my grandfather told me this story and I remember it since. The story is of a little boy who is walking with his father on the street, and while walking, the boy notices there's 5 policemen and they are dragging one man. They have tied the arms and legs of that man and they are dragging him to the prison. The boy asks his father, "Who is this man and what happened?" The father says, "This man is a thief and he's just lost his freedom. The 5 policemen are controlling him and they are taking him to prison. Now he's imprisoned for many years." The boy says, "Okay, he's a thief, okay." After some distance, the boy again sees 5 policemen and there's a man inside. And the boy shouts, "Daddy, see another thief." The father says, "Hey, shh, don't shout." Say, "Well, what happened?" "He's not a thief, he's a king." Say, "How come? 5 policemen, a man inside. The first one is a thief, second one is a king. How is it?" The father smiles and says, "There's a big difference, my dear boy. The 5 policemen tell the man inside what to do. And in the second case, the man inside tells the 5 policemen what to do. So the first one is the bhogi, the one who is under the control of the sensory organs and desires and ego and fear. This is our material dimension of our mind. And the spiritual dimension of our mind is where the man inside, the consciousness inside, the Atma tells the 5 sensory organs through the mind and intellect what to do. So suppression leads to imprisonment and expression also leads to imprisonment. There are examples, if you suppress your desires, they drive you crazy some point of time in your life. Many people say, "Okay, I'm going to control my food intake. I'm not going to eat this, I'm not going to eat this, I'm not going to eat this." And then what happens? After a few days, the resolve is broken and you start eating everything. Say, "Oh, it's too hard for me to control." Start eating. You heard of the binge eating disorder. People eat half a kilogram of chocolate in one sitting, 1 kilogram of ice cream in one sitting. This is suppressed desires. An expression we anyway know. Addictions is an expression. This is the material dimension of our mind. And the spiritual dimension of mind is, I decide. My intellect, my mind follow when to eat, how much to eat, what should I purchase, what should I not purchase. All the possessions that we have are the result of this material dimension. Our clothes, the money that we have, this is all about this desire dimension. Our attachments that we have, so many attachments we have created for ourselves, and that is actually causing us a lot more anxiety, stress. This is quite well known now. The material possessions that we have causing lot more anxiety and stress to us. So I think I have made this point, which was a very important point of the Bhagavad Gita chapter 2. So I am going to stop here. Hari Om.